Wow. Well, I think we just need to get after it, much like the band did tonight. Night number 2 in Boulder, Colorado. Phish at Folsom Field, and well, there was really no down moments. It was just on from the word go until they finally hit stop. They celebrated America basically with their performance. They were, in fact, the fireworks. All right, so Bathtub Gin. What do you think? What do you think about it? Bathtub Gin coming, making its debut. And it was quite the thunderous debut, really. If there was apparently there was some lightning early on in the show last night. Bathtub Gin coming, the crescendo on this thing. Mike just really going after it in the crescendo on Bathtub Gin. So more than a strong opener there. You know, strong openers everywhere there tonight, and closers, really. Moma Dance in its familiar spot there, number 2. Beauty of My Dreams. We've been working some bluegrass in this summer, and I don't know about where you live, but this is when the fireworks just really started going off, really. Bathtub Gin, Beauty of My Dreams, theme from the bottom. I had some extra percussion going on over here. The Moma Dance doing its thing, as always, delivering right there in the 2 spot. The bluegrass coming in, and then we get a theme from the bottom, a very graceful jam here in the theme from the bottom. And I think it was almost about the same exact placement last time when the jam there. Maybe while that one was a nice jam, this one had just more of a, just a beautiful kind of theme from the bottom. Isn't it always going to be, though, really? So now we're off. We got us a big highlight here, although I don't know. Bathtub Gin. And then, all right, so let's just get on. If we got some bluegrass here, I don't know what riff is. It's not exactly bluegrass. It is, staying a familiar favorite, keeping them within their comfort zone, really, so far. I think another debut on the summer, but really the results are good, you know, just playing stuff that they know they can get. And Oblivion, while it seems like it was going to be a familiar second set song, I think this is 2 appearances in a row now here in the first set, and it's kind of the dark section here of the first set, Oblivion into Timber over here, and then Guyute can kind of go both ways. Guyute, you know, it can be the happiest, joyous sounding, and then also it's like, whoa, things just got a little dark here. And much like Fluffhead last night, Guyute, a song that can make you, put your hands in your pockets and say, okay, let's just kind of what's going to go on here, you know, and it delivered once again. If the Fluffhead was really good last night, Guyute really good tonight, you know, maybe not just flawless 100% all the way through. If you think of like the greatest Guyute ever played, maybe that wasn't it. But again, like Fluffhead last night, played really well. The Rift again. And then no matter if it's debut, a lot of debuts this summer here in this set 1. Back on the Train, you know, for sure seemed like it was going to end first set, but no. Like the title says, most events are not planned. They start early and then the set runs long. You know, you really don't know what's going on with these guys sometime. So, like I said, the first set, they kind of just, for the most part, you know, they got outside the comfort zone a little bit. Guyute for sure. Most events aren't planned a bit, you know. And the results were good. Now we move over to the second set, and a little bit more of the same, while a whole different style of band. While everything here, while the jamming was kind of kept to a minimum, you know. Mike Gordon coming through in the gin, you know. So let's go over. We got to move over to the second set. Simple starting it out. Maybe not the powerhouse that Bathtub Gin was opening up set 1, but the Simple just kind of getting them loosened up. Really, just everything ran together. Set 2 was not about that one big song like it is on most nights. This one really, it was just about. I mean, this was by far, I think I can comfortably say, my favorite set of the summer. Set 1 of the summer, no doubt. Now we move over to set 2, and I think I'm going to say the same thing about this one, really. I mean, there was no one song. It was just, and look at all them songs. You could just hear it. They just go together so smoothly. And what's going through your mind, actually, I mean, nothing was going to be able to follow that one. So they probably made the right move here. Everything, I don't know, maybe possibly under 10 minutes. But it felt like everything somewhere in that 10 to 18 minute range. If there was a standout, it was certainly the Tweezer. Hit that moment where it almost seemed like we might be spacing out here and the energy's dropping, things are getting quieter. Trey just wouldn't quite let it. Or, you know, the first part of the jam was Mike. He had this kind of like a springy sound, really, a little bit different than the booby bass sound. And it sure sprung Trey right into action, because then he starts leading, and then he just takes it right. And then all the band just follows in, and then they ride the jam and tweezer for a while, strongly as well. Trey led, coming around the into the back stretch on all the way through the home stretch was a lot of Trey. And of course, in the thin air, somewhere in here, or was it maybe, oh, you know what, it was in Guyute actually. At one point, Page took a big deep breath, and I don't know if it was the thin air starting to get to him. They still had a ways to go, or if it was just like, uh-oh, here comes this part in the song. How are we going to do? They got through it. All right, now let's get back over here to the tweezer. Actually, I think perhaps we were done. Maybe this felt like a segment here. Really, it all did go together. But then if there was a brief change, there was a roar from the crowd for No Quarter. If I thought Roses Are Free was a popular cover last night, No Quarter certainly seemed to top that in crowd appreciation. And then Down with Disease, seeming like in this spot, you think you're probably not going to get a lot from Down with Disease. But we certainly did. And maybe it did. Maybe the only moment of the whole set where things quieted down and started to space out a little bit. But not for long. Takes us right into Ghost. And then Ghost ending the set strong, much like most events aren't planned over here. The second set, I don't think, ran nearly as long as the first set. Ghost really, and then there was a part in Ghost where it felt like maybe there was almost like a bit of a sand jam or something going on in Ghost. And then Trey really recognizably, oh no, we're right back to Ghost. And then what Mike started out over here in Tweezer, he finishes up in the Ghost. Time for the encore. Character 0, Tweezer reprise, check, check. It doesn't really matter after this set and this set. Really anything in the encore would have been fitting, and they rocked it out, and then they had to hit you with a Tweezer reprise instead of doing the move or they saved it for tomorrow. So, this I think I will have to say is my favorite show so far of the summer. I feel like there was a distinct difference between the show last night and this one, and they did a lot of things that are just, they were just hitting all the right notes tonight. Not just in the songs, but in just the style of what they played overall. Staying within the comfort zone. A lot of stuff that we've gotten, a lot repeats from the summer. I said it all already once. Enough. It wasn't exactly a mic drop. Look, that's pretty impressive. Cat's been sleeping down here on the floor the whole time. Believe it or not, he went out during Tweezer. Well, he was all scared and freaking out during the fireworks. All right, guys. Boom.